Okay. And today we're going to be considering three streams or three options under that particular stream. And one of the eureka moments I had was the fact that it's a stream. Right. It's a flow. So you start out of as with a work permit.
Right.
But once you get enough experience, I think it's a 2-year experience.
2 years
right?
experience.
Once you have that 2 years of experience, then you just submit your work experience and then you qualify for permanent residence.
Right.
Yeah. And we're saying that, okay, so there are three options under this. We have the number one being the home child care provider pilot. We have the home support worker pilot. And then we have the live-in caregiver LMIA based. Right. Three different options. So we're going to break it down one after the other. So let's start with the home child care provider pilot. What exactly is that?
So first steps foremost, you have to have a job offer from a Canadian employer. They have to have kids who need taken care of. So when you have relative experience, when you have relative education, you get a work permit which is based off of that employer. You will get it for a minimum amount of 2 years, and then you can move here on a work permit and then eventually apply for the permanent residency.
Okay. So you say something about relative experience. What exactly does that mean?
So basically, a person who wants to move to Canada under this stream, they have to be taking care of the children back in whichever country they come from. They would have to have a minimum of 1 to 2 years of experience taking care of a child, so that they basically know what it is like to take care of a child, not just their own, but that belongs to somebody else.
Okay, so your own child taking
Doesn't
care
count.
of that doesn't count. So you need experience taking care of other people's children. 1 or 2 years experience. Okay. Perfect. So what about the What about the home support worker pilot? How is that different from the home child care provider pilot?
So basically the home support worker basically depends on the fact that it's only for the elderly people. So elderly people, who are alone at home, they don't have anybody else to take care of them. So that's when this home support worker program comes in. So basically, if they have somebody who's aged, who has medical conditions, who are not capable of taking care of themselves, so that's when you apply for this program.
Okay. So, but essentially the underlying fact there is it's for the elderly.
It is, yes.
Okay. And then what about the third one, the live-in caregiver LMIA based?
So basically what happens is these provider pilot programs, they have a deadline, they have a specific quota every year that gets filled up really quick.
Manisha. We're still going to talk about that. Yeah.
Right. So with the LMIA program, there's no limit on the applications per se, so anybody can do it throughout the year. And then this application allows them to, it works the similar way, but it's just that you have to get an LMIA first instead of just a regular job offer.
Oh, I see. And LMIA being what? For our viewers that don't understand what LMIA means.
So LMIA is basically getting the job offer approved for the government of Alberta first, government of Canada first, and then you apply on that work permit.
Okay. So it's like a certification or some kind of document to say that yes,
right,
we really need this skill in Canada. You can go ahead and
exactly.
Okay, absolutely. And yeah, before we go into the questions, we're just laughing right now about the fact that it opens January 1st, 9 a.m. Eastern.
2023.
Yeah, 2021. I remember that it closed in January 17. But last year was amazing. How many hours?
2.5 hours.
Boom! It was filled up. I think for this year they were looking for 1,650 applications.
So what it is technically it was only like 1,000 applications. The 150 were basically going to be for the people who were disabled, who couldn't do the online applications.
Okay.
So basically every single year what they're doing is they're bringing down the number of people because they want to make sure that they do get the qualified people.
Yes.
Yeah, so it gets filled up really quick, guys.
Yeah.
We do have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, imagine 2021, it took 17 days.
Right.
2022, it took 2.5 hours and it was done.
Yes.
Who knows what's going to happen in 2024?
That's why it's of the utmost importance that, whoever wants to apply under this stream, they have to be prepared right from the very beginning so that, the moment it opens, we're ready to submit their files.
So when you say you have to be prepared, what exactly are we talking about here? What preparation do you, because like we're saying, I think I have my dates backward. 2022 was January 17, 2023 was 20. Okay, yeah, I was beginning to wonder that. I think I lost a year in there. Oh my God. Okay, so 2022, it took 17 days and it was filled.
Yes.
2023, January 1st, 2.5 hours, it was done.
Was filled, yes.
So now you can't do anything until January 2024.
Right.
But between now and then, what exactly can you do to prepare to be? Who knows? Maybe it's just gonna be 1 hour and then it's done.
I know. And then, it's like one of those things that you wait out the whole year to to start the process all over again. So you would just want to make sure that, everything is prepared. Number one, first and foremost, you have to have your English language test.
IELTS.
Yes, you have to do an IELTS, or you could also go for the self-pip exam, which is all electronic. And then, so they have to secure a band of CLB 5. That's the minimum requirement as for the language test that goes.
And to be honest, CLB 5 is quite easy.
It is
because
we're
talking about the other streams, express entry, you're looking for 7, 7.5, 8 even, right?
Exactly. So it's one of those things. First and foremost, you want to make sure that the language test is done. And then obviously when you come from another country, you have to make sure that your education is basically assessed. You have to have an ECA report for your equivalency in the Canadian education.
Okay.
Those are the two things you want to make sure that it's done. You might want to get started with your police clearance certificate. You also might want to collect all your experience documents. So every single thing counts. So as much as documents that you can collect, you should. So that by the time the program opens, we're just ready to submit it.
So if you're thinking 2024, I'm gonna try to go into the stream, you need to start preparing now. Write your exams, IELTS exams, or the other option, self-pip, and then go ahead and verify your certification. WES, I think there are many options, but WES seems to be the most popular one.
Yes.
So get your certifications verified. I think it needs just a minimum of 1 year post-secondary equivalence in Canada.
Yes.
So if you have, I don't know, like for instance in Nigeria, if you have OND, Ordinary National Diploma, that's a 2-year program. But by the time you do your equivalence, it tells that it's at least a minimum of 1 year, and then you qualify, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And we're talking about your experiences. You want to show that you've actually been working as a nanny, as a caregiver. So that would also mean, I think, having a bank statement showing that.
Bank statements, they could get like an experience letter from the employer, they could get like a job offer letter from the employer that they've been working with. So any single document, it's going to help out.
That can show that
they've been working in the same stream, that they've had this much of experience. So every single thing they do is going to count towards the number of documentation that they can provide.
So for the child care provider and the home support worker, is there a difference in documentation? Or
it's pretty much similar. You have to have your experience documents, you have to have your education, your IELTS. So the documents is the same, it's just that the kind of experience you're going to have is going to be different.
Okay, yes. Absolutely. We're still going to come back to some of these issues, but I have some questions that is already pending here, so I want us to just go straight into the questions.
Yes.
So somebody is asking, can I apply under the caregiver stream even though I have a pending application? So this person, I think, okay, so it's the same question but two different people. This person has a self-employed cultural artist stream. It's already ongoing. And then the second one, so I'm just going to lump it together. This person is already in the express entry, in the pool.
Right.
So she is saying, can I still go ahead and apply for this caregiver stream since I'm just in the pool, I'm waiting? What does that affect anything?
So Canada does allow you to put multiple applications in at one point. You just have to make sure that you do have the relevant. That's why it's very important to consider. I keep on using this term. You have to have relevant experience. You have to have a relevant education. It's not that, for instance, in express entry they've had the profile for maybe agriculture or for maybe like, I don't know, like maybe nursing or whatever. And here they're putting in for a different stream. So there's going to be a conflict. You don't want to do that. As long as it's the similar information that you're providing, similar things that you're providing, then you are able to, you are able to do 2 applications at the same time.
And again, because for the Canadian government and the system, they keep records.
Exactly.
So they can see that you already applied as an accountant. And all of a sudden, you're coming to the caregiver stream and say, oh yeah, I did health aid, and then I've been working as an child caregiver for the past 5 years.
You just want to make sure there's no contradiction in the information you provide, because ultimately it can lead to misrepresentation, which is what we don't want to have to happen.
Yeah, so you want to be very careful what you're doing and how you're representing yourself that way. Okay, so this person is asking, can you relocate from, I'm not going to mention the country because it's a specific country, but any country. Can you relocate from any country to Canada as a caregiver with my family? I think that's where the question is. Is it an individual application or can you bring your family with you?
That's the interesting part about the caregiver stream. It actually does allow you to bring your family with you to Canada. So basically, if you have a spouse, they can be here on an open work permit, which is going to be equivalent to the validity of your own work permit.
Okay.
If you have any child that's under 18 years of age, they'll get a study permit. So that's the beautiful thing about this program. Yes, you're able to bring your family with it.
I know, like, for a lot of people from Nigeria especially, we're proud people, we think that, oh, I don't want to come as a nanny. But maybe you're already back home doing that same work, right?
Exactly.
It seems to be a bit easier to get in through the stream
It is.
than any other stream, in my opinion.
Yes.
And the fact that you're coming in, when you submit your application, you're doing your permanent, you're doing everything, and you can also bring your spouse.
Yes,
Your
you
spouse can work, open permit, meaning that they can work anywhere.
Yes.
And so there's a follow-up question. I'm just going to go into that. So for instance, I'm a caregiver. I want to apply, but my husband is a professional. He's an engineer. Will that be a problem, or can he still go ahead and apply for an open work permit?
He can definitely apply for an open work permit because their open work permit is based on you as a primary applicant.
Yeah.
And they can work for whoever they want to.
They want to.
There'll be no restrictions.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. And then your kids can go to school while
Exactly.
you're working.
Exactly.
Okay. I think we already answered this, but I'm just going to still ask so that this person knows that we covered their question. Is IELTS a mandatory requirement for caregivers?
Yes. So almost every stream in Canada has to make sure that, when you're coming to Canada as an immigrant, they want to make sure that you're able to communicate well in English because, obviously mostly people, they speak English, and you want to make sure that the communication goes smoothly. So yes, the IELTS is mandatory.
Very, very mandatory. You have to, no matter what, and like Manisha said, I mean, it's either English or French, but I know most people will be English because it's not Quebec, right? But if you go to Quebec, it would be French, maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
So English language, they want to be sure that you're able to speak.
Yes.
Who wants a caregiver that doesn't understand what the child is saying?
Exactly.
Right? The
Yes.
child is crying or is saying something I need, and you can't even understand. So there's going to be a problem there, right? So the communication is important. The fact that just to be able to understand the language.
Yes.
And that's why I think they brought it as low as can be. 5 as a band is
Very
low.
easy, yes.
Easy to achieve, right?
For a person, if they've basically, either graduated or if they've worked with somebody for at least like 2 years, you'd be able to speak that much
Absolutely.
of English that you're able to get the CLB5, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do I require a proof of funds to relocate as a caregiver?
There's no minimum necessary income per se, but you at the same time, you want to make sure that you do have sufficient funds that's going to allow you to sustain your life in Canada. You know what I mean? So like you do have to make sure that maybe like if you're a single person, you're coming in, you want to make sure that you have about $8,000 to $10,000 in your bank account. So like worst comes to worst, you have some sort of funds in the bag that's going to help you sustain.
Sustain yourself. Okay. But again, because you're coming with a job offer, they know once you land, you're going to be working anyway.
Right.
So you're going to be making money. But be that as it may,
the emergency funds are always nice to have.
Nice to have, yeah. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. Okay, another question here. Can I apply as a caregiver even if I have a child that is less than age 2?
Sorry, I don't understand.
So this person has a child that is under the age of 2. They want to apply as a caregiver. So you're going to be taking care of somebody else's child while your child needs caregiving.
Right.
So
yes,
is that a problem?
No, there is not a problem because as long as basically your child comes with you based off of your profile, right? So it's not per se that, oh, you have a dependent so you cannot come here as helping somebody else. That's not an issue.
I guess where the concern is, maybe I'm just speculating here because there's no background story, but I'm just speculating that you're thinking, okay, I have a 1-year-old child that I still need to carry around.
Right.
And I want to come take care of another 3-year-old.
Right.
So now all of a sudden it looks like I have twins. So how do I manage that, right?
So immigration does not stop you even if you have your own child or even if you have a newborn. It doesn't stop you. But then at the end of the day, like it boils down to the fact that how you take care of them.
Yeah, and then
So-
can you really do the job?
Exactly.
And then I'm also assuming that your employer knows you have a baby.
Right.
And if they are okay with it, then the
Yes.
immigration agent is okay with it.
Exactly.
Because there must have been some arrangement that, okay, my child, this is how I'm going to take care of your child.
Exactly.
This is my own child. And, that understanding is there.
Yeah, immigration is not going to stop you from coming to Canada just because you have a child that needs taken care of. So
Okay. So talking about employer, somebody is asking here that can my family member give me, like for instance, they have a family member in Canada and they are back home. Can my family member, a cousin, okay, so two people. One is saying my cousin, the other is saying my brother. So can they give me a job offer?
Yes, they definitely can.
Okay.
There's no restrictions per se that a family member cannot give you a job. There definitely has to be a need of legitimate person that they need for them to help out, and then there has to be like both sides. From the employer end, there has to be a need of the person to take care of. From the employee's end, you have to have
be able to do the job.
Right. You have to be able to demonstrate that you're capable enough to do the job.
So, for instance, your brother has a 15-year-old child. He's not going to be able to, because the 15-year-old doesn't need help. They can take care of themselves, right? So, again, it boils down to the fact that whoever you're connecting with, whoever is giving you that job offer, really needs
there has to be a genuine job offer in that end, that there's actually a need for the person to come over and help.
And demonstrable need in the fact that the employer must have a young child that needs to be taken care of.
Yes.
Not say, oh yeah, I'm pregnant, and I hope when I have my baby, I don't know if that works. Like if okay, now I don't know. I think I'm going crazy here with this scenario. So if the employer is pregnant and thinks, okay, I'm going to have a baby in 6 months.
Yeah.
Can you give a job offer saying that, yeah, when I have my baby, I'm going to be in need of somebody to take care of this child? I don't know if
Not
that works.
really, because what happens is Canada basically allows you 52 weeks of maternity leave anyways. So it's going to be hard for the employer to justify that. How do they need this? So yes.
Oh my god, I just went a bit crazy with that, but it just occurred to me. It was not the person that was asked, and I just thought, throw it out there. Let's see if that would be. So maybe somebody's thinking, maybe I should just go get pregnant and give my sister a letter of employment. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let me see. Yeah, we've addressed this question. Okay, so what happens if I do not have an employer? Is there a way to reach out to someone? Is there a system in place to be able to get an employer that could give a job offer, or is that something that 2M Immigration can help with?
So basically we do help with because we do also do recruiting and stuff. So basically what the profile is like, we can definitely help you out, reach out to the employers who might be in need of getting an employee from overseas, or they're in need of somebody who's experienced, who have the education, and they want somebody over. We can definitely help you out with that.
Okay, so just to be clear, guys, 2M Immigration, Jody Immigration, being Chloe, that's one of the things they do. You don't know anybody in Canada, but you have this experience. You're able to get all the documentation, you're able to get the certification, and you're willing, you want to do this job.
We're gonna help you facilitate it.
Yeah,
we're gonna help come into picture, act as a bridge, and help you get the job, help you get with the paperwork. So we're gonna be there for you with every step of the way.
Every step of the way, absolutely, and that's really important, right? And I also say to people, because I need to be very clear here, particularly my African people, in Canada there is dignity in labor. Whether you're taking care of somebody's child or your own child, you are taking care of a human being. Right. There is respect, there is dignity. Nobody's going to look down here and say, oh my God, oh, she's just a nanny. Right. No, you're earning your pay. In fact, the government is interested in ensuring that you're well taken care of, you're treated right.
Exactly.
The employer has a duty to take care of you in the sense that you work, you get paid.
Yes.
So you can't say, oh, you're my nanny, sleep at the door or outside the door or something like that. There is dignity in labor, and this transcends beyond whether the caregiver stream or any other stream at all. In Canada, there is dignity in labor. Whatever you do, you get paid for it and you get respected.
Exactly. It's not that there's nobody going to be looking down on you just because of the type of work you do. So that's actually the beautiful thing about this country.
Yeah, and I say this until I'm blue in the face, but some people just don't get it. They feel like, oh no, don't have even talking to me about being a nanny. I'm like, some nannies earn more than
right. That's the thing. That's 100% no.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those streams which is actually like it helps you make really good money.
Really good money. Yeah. Sometimes we joke and say that if you have a young child and you have a nanny or you put them in childcare, you more or less go work and hand over your salary to those people because they get well paid.
Exactly.
So it's a well-paying job. It's a respectable profession. Yes. So don't even overcomplicate things by thinking, oh, somebody, no. It is respectable. There's dignity in labor. I guess that sums it up. Let's talk about the LMIA some more. I know we've talked about the child care provider, the home support, but the home support, interestingly, it seems like there is not much traction because this, I'm not sure even if by now it's still full.
It's not full. This is one of those programs that actually stay open until most of the year. Because what it is when a person is calling you for taking care of their elderly person in the home, they have to meet a certain kind of criteria.
Okay.
You know, they have to be able to prove that the elder person is in actual need of care. So, there's like a bunch of documents they have to provide through the immigration. There's a bunch of income requirements from the employer's end. So unless they meet that criteria, it's hard for them to call upon a foreign worker.
Oh, so that is why it seems like that doesn't fill up as quickly as the home child care.
So the requirements are a little bit harder from the employer's end. So that's the reason why it takes a lot longer to fill up that quota.
But the thing is, for the government to keep the stream open is because there is a need.
Yes, there is definitely a need for the people to be able to take care of. Because what happens is, when they hire people locally, you'd find that they come and go so fast that the employer doesn't even get time to get adjusted to the employee. So that's why this stream comes in, gets your work permit for 2 years. It makes sure that that person is there for a longer period of time, so that there's a comfort from both the ends.
But yeah, absolutely. And you're thinking, you're sitting there, you're watching this, you're thinking, oh my God, I don't even know anyone that needs this kind of services that I'm able to offer. Get in touch with 2M Immigration, Jody Immigration Consultancy. Reach out to me. I will link you up, and then we can help facilitate.
Definitely.
That process and get you home and dry. Let me see. I think we've answered this one. Actually, we're beginning to run out of time here, but we've answered that one. If you do have any other questions, for those watching, feel free to send your questions in. We will answer them on the YouTube channel, and when we post them on our other social media platforms, for sure, we will answer your questions and get Manisha, get Chloe to send back the answers, and we will reach out to you. I think that, we've answered most of those questions in one form or shape. So Manisha, is there any other thing that comes to mind that we need to talk about just to be able to cover this topic?
I think, like, at the end of the day, the time is of the utmost importance. People need to understand that, you cannot and you should not leave things to the last minute. Be like, oh, it's going to open up on 1st of January and, we'll start prepping up in December. No. First of all, if you're trying to get your education evaluated, for example, takes about, give or take, about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Make sure you give
depending on the country too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then your IELTS test, it's not one of those things that one fine day you wake up and you're like, oh, let's do an IELTS exam. You have to know the format. So time is of the utmost importance. These things, they do not expire for quite a bit of time, so you do want to make sure that you get it done beforehand, so that at the last moment you're not just rushing into things. And
just so you understand, it's not by mistake that we're talking about this stream now in February. It's because we know that if we waited till June, it's almost too late. So if you're watching this, you're interested, get in touch ASAP. Let's advise you on the documentation you need so that you can begin to put your ducks in a row. And come January 1st, 2024, you're ready to hit the ground running and get your application in before every other 999 people get theirs in.
Because there were people, when they were submitting the applications, literally they were at the last point because of the fact that it filled up so quick. They couldn't even submit it even if they had all the documentation in place. So that's why the sooner the better.
The sooner the better. So you're there, you listen, you're interested in this, get in touch. Let's hook you up, let's answer your questions, let's set you up for success so that 2023 is the preparatory ground. 2024, you're achieving your goals, you're hitting your targets. I think that's all that we have time for on the show. Time really flies by when I'm having this conversation with these fantastic ladies. Thank you again, Manisha, for coming on today's edition of Open Mic. And we really miss Chloe. Next open mic, she's going to be here, all things being equal. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We're really grateful for the time you spent with us. Like this broadcast, share it with people, all our social media handles, follow us, subscribe, whatever it takes. The same with 2M Immigration. Subscribe, Follow them on social media. Follow Jody Consulting. Jody Consulting. That's what it is.
Jody Immigration
Services.
Yes.
Okay. So follow on social media, like the pages. Let's get this information out to everyone. And thank you so much for being part of this. God bless you. Until we see you again.
Until the next time.
Bye.